Hi, this is Jason here from DTB Traders. The fourth or fifth time I'm doing this Restream app, so I'm still not getting it 100% right, but as long as the content can be delivered, that will be okay. So coming to you from my new office on the Gold Coast of Queensland, today I want to share the automated strategy called the DTB Modena Wick Trader strategy. So this one has been around basically since the beginning of launching DTB Traders to the community. And it has gone through quite a few different transformations over the years that it has been available. And it's at the stage now where I have completed doing the updates on it, and I've actually produced a complete document that outlines every single setting in the strategy and how it can be used. So that is what we're going to cover on this call or on this video, and we'll look at the chart, we'll look at the strategy, we'll look at a few different things, including the document. So let's jump into that. All right. Okay, so I'm going to move this out the way. Excellent. Okay, so on the screen now, you'll just see a 5-minute chart. So I'll bring up the strategy first. So that is the strategy over there. And these are all the settings for the strategy. So it's got about 3 pages of settings in there. Now, talking about that document, if you are a DTB member, you'll be able to access this document as part of the settings for the indicator. So just by clicking on this link or putting this link into a browser, you're able to actually bring up the details or bring up the folder with all the tools in them. So this is what the document looks like. It's dated the 11th of May. That's the one I just completed today. And it basically goes through every feature of the strategy. So starting with the basic features to the more advanced features, it's going to actually give you screenshots of the strategy and of the buttons themselves, as well as a good amount of detail on every little section of the strategy. So starting off with obviously the top part, with the sliders, with the background, and then leading up into the daily profit targets, the entry management, and the rest. So it's quite detailed, as you can see. It'll probably take you about 15 minutes to read through the document, but that will really get you on the right path so that every feature is actually understood in the strategy and you can use the strategy effectively. So it goes into how the orders are placed, the different ways of how the orders are placed, as well as the trading hours that's built into it, and the different filters that are actually built into the strategy. So for those not too familiar with the Modena strategy, especially with the latest updates, what we have done is we have built into the strategy a signal chart. So what happens is the strategy has this built-in data series. So we'll have a very brief look at that. We have a data series. So the bar size in this data series is a 2020. Over here, you can actually change the size of that bar size. So you can set up a signal chart. Well, you can program in a signal chart into the strategy, and that signal chart will determine where entries and exits are made or when the strategy is actually trading. So once you've read that document and you've gone through all the settings, you'll be able to look at this feature. You'll even be able to load up the signal chart and see what it looks like. All of that is very well detailed in that document. So a very quick look at that. So if I just duplicate this in a new tab, okay, and I'll set up a very quick signal chart. So just by going into the DTB analytical bars, selecting a 2020 as the strategy has, you can immediately right-click on the chart, go template and load. And this is going to bring up the different templates that are available with the DTB system. So as soon as you've installed or as soon as you've imported the DTB system into NinjaTrader and you've run the script that comes with the DTB Traders package, all of the templates for the indicators and the strategies are automatically going to be downloaded to your platform. So the specific signal chart that the strategy uses is called the signal chart combo 4. So that's the one over there. And this is what the signal chart looks like that is, determining when trades are being entered in the strategy. So this built-in signal chart, you're obviously able to manipulate the values to have the strategy trade at different levels in the indicator. But this indicator that's on this chart is called the shadow trading divergence. And this is specifically what is used to enter the market. So you'll notice that there'll be gray bars and cyan bars, again, all explained nicely in the document. And when the price is in a certain range between overbought and oversold, the strategy will act. So that is what the signal chart looks like. The strategy will also automatically exit positions, which is pretty cool, when the price becomes, over the edge, which is these vertical white lines that you are seeing on the chart. So as an idea of what the strategy has been doing so far today, or over the last few hours, I've had this active since on my chart, on my account, since 3 a.m. and it's now 5:30. So about 2.5 hours of trading. It went into a little bit of a drawdown quite early on, actually, and then it's picked up again. So if I bring up the trade performance of this, the real-time performance, when that comes up, it's entered a total of 31 trades in that period, and it has, let's see. So it started off with a few trades, a profit target up until 1,300, then dropped down a little bit, and then has been basically on 1,100. So it started off extremely well and actually hit a target pretty quickly. So often what you guys are going to find is running the strategy, you only need to run it for a few minutes even to hit your daily target that you want to have running, and then exit and you're done for the day. So like as an example, this started just before 3 a.m. and by 3:30 it would have actually been done. So if you got $1,000 target or a $500 target, you're going to find that it's going to hit pretty quickly with the strategy. We're using this one currently on a 5-minute chart. So that is what this one was trading on. And what's been happening is we've got the button selected there. So we've got a green button on top. That's the filter for the signal chart. So we've actually got the signal chart in the back end determining when trades are being taken. And we also have an additional filter on here called the trade support. So you see this little green button on the left here, that's called the trade support. So these dotted lines that you're seeing on the chart. So if I just remove some of the text, these dotted lines you're seeing on the chart, that is called the trade support. And what that does is it determines the direction, the overall direction of the trend. So when the trade support is above the price and you're using it as a filter, the strategy will only take short positions. When the trade support is above the price, the strategy, or when the trade support is below the price like this, it's only going to take long positions. So that is what that does. And just looking at it on a slightly different chart, like this is an MNQ chart. Again, I'll just remove some of the data series text. So on the longer charts too, so if you are trading the strategy and you're activating it with this filter attached, when the trade support is below the price like this, it will only take long positions. So you won't be caught in any of the situations where a baseline will break like this, and you won't have any short positions.
So that is the benefit of having a extra filter in there that specifically works off, the overall direction. So it's the same thing over here with short positions. We have the trade support above the price, this specific candle over here, which is 195 ticks. There were no trades on that candle. Now, the next one, this is where it gets quite interesting. So we obviously had quite a lot of orders on this very specific candle. As you can see, a lot of exits and entries. So what happens with the trade support is it was entering positions down, it was entering short positions because the trade support was above price. But when you're using the trade support and you select a specific setting in there, which is called the exit on trade support cross, what will happen is any open positions will actually exit at the point of the trade support. So you might have multiple entries on a candle, on a wick, and then if the price goes up and hits that trade support and then goes and forms a new baseline, all those positions will be exited at that point. So it's a pretty cool feature to have. And then again, it's not going to be entering any short positions, especially now that the trade support is now below the price. So a little bit unlucky with this one to be stuck or to have had multiple entries on this specific candle. But remember, I've also got a very small setting of 10 ticks as the retracement. So a few different settings can be adjusted while using the strategy. And obviously one of those is the retracement value. And the buttons on the left that you're seeing over here and sliders, that is what the settings are in the strategy. So if you want to adjust any of these sliders, you can do so on the slider itself. And as you're doing that, the settings inside the strategy will actually adjust too. So if you look at this level here called retracement, you'll see it's gone to 41. Okay, and if I adjust it back down to 22 and I go back into the settings, you'll notice it's been adjusted to 22. So that is the great thing too about the DTB system and the tools that we have, is that you're able to adjust strategy settings on the fly while the strategy is active, which is completely unheard of, with NinjaTrader and actually any strategy out there. So the ability to be able to move the different entry points or the entry requirements of a strategy while it is in action. And you can also do this while positions are open. So, we've also got the max entry. So this controls how many entries the strategy takes. So you could choose how many entries you would like to take on a specific candle, on a specific wick, and those can be adjusted. And if it's been adjusted right down to 1, if there's any open positions, it won't enter any more positions. So just some really handy features with the strategy, the ability to work with these sliders, as well as the trade size. I mean, you may be entering individual contracts and then decide you want to go for a slightly larger quantity of contracts on the next order. That can be done with the slider. So again, you can choose, how many, the quantity of the contracts that are being entered. So extremely versatile strategy. We've been having really great success with it in our group. Again, this is the 5-minute chart that I've got it running on. And one of the handy benefits too is it tells you on the top of the chart what the signal chart settings are that you are using. So you can always go and bring up that signal chart and you can look at what those settings are, and you can adjust them and then obviously adjust the settings inside the strategy too. So if you notice on the screen now too, you'll notice that these lines have gone pink. So these 2 pink lines that you are seeing are the minimum and maximum distance markers that the strategy is going to enter positions in. So they're going to enter within that range. Again, it's a setting that can be adjusted. So you can adjust that minimum and that maximum distance marker. So you can see I've adjusted it there. And what that's done is it's narrowed the range of where trades can enter. So right now, as an example, trades can only enter in that block, which is a total of 57 ticks. And again, something you can adjust while the strategy is active. So, that minimum distance. So that's just the minimum distance of where trades will enter on the candle. And the maximum distance will determine how many ticks on a specific candle are you prepared to enter on that. So as you can see now, the price has dropped. These lines have dropped below. So the price is now retracing back down again. If the price goes within the specific range that the strategy is, it just moved a bit, but it was about over there. If the price goes into that range and the signal chart kicks in, it will enter a long position going up, because this trade support that we are seeing over here is above the price. Below the price. So some really, really key features for the strategy. We never had built-in signal charts before. We always had a separate chart, and then we were starting and pausing the strategy based on what we were seeing. This definitely provides an extra level and ever more closer to a fully 100% automated system. So we're not quite there yet to be 100% automated. It still is going to require a little bit of little bit of work on your part to manage the strategy. You can manage the distance markers, the retracement, the amount of entries, pause and start the strategy, depending on what's happening in the market. And also, we haven't covered any of the additional tools and indicators that can support a strategy like this that we can look at on other charts. So there's quite a lot that can be achieved with the strategy. And once you start working on this strategy, you won't want to work on anything else, because the focus on a strategy like this is focusing on the settings instead of focusing on the individual trades that the strategy is entering. So you focus more in a management role instead of stressing about individual positions. So you get to see a much bigger picture of what's happening around you when you're looking at different settings and you're looking at different features instead of focusing on the trade that you are entering. So that's it's going to be a huge benefit. Okay, so I thought I'll just jump in there. So all the existing DTB members, you can go into the Google Drive folder and you can download that document. It's 10 pages and really worth the read to go through all those features. So, it details literally every single thing in there. So, as an example, it goes through the different ways of the stops and targets being handled. So the strategy's got two completely different ways of handling stops and targets, which is quite extraordinary actually, as well as the spacing out and the delaying of trades. So it's fairly complex when you're looking at it first off, but once you get a little bit of working experience with the strategy, you'll be absolutely blown away by not only its results, but by how advanced it actually is and how manageable it really is too. Okay, so I'm going to leave that at that. There weren't any live trades on the call, unfortunately. Price is moving quite slow at the moment, but I'm very happy with the progress of the strategy, what it's been doing. And in our Discord channel, we have had a few of the members share their results too, including myself. So definitely worth the the look at the Discord channel, especially if you're a DTB Traders member. you really need to be part of the different groups that can help you, first of all, work with the strategy, sharing ideas, and, all of that is basically available in our Discord channel. So just to give you a brief idea of what I was doing with the strategy earlier, this is one of my screenshots that I have. I've actually got a folder in the OneDrive, in the folder, the Google Drive folder. We actually have the, some screenshots there of past performances that the strategy has had. That'll also give you some ideas for settings. We've got templates. So as soon as you load a strategy, you are going to be able to immediately load up a template. And these templates have got all the pre-programmed settings in them so that you just need to select them and it pre-populates all the settings. And then you click on enable and you go. So that is, obviously one of the big benefits is not having to go and play around with settings or adjust settings. You've actually got some templates that can get you going. Great. So thank you guys for jumping on, and I look forward to working with you. I have not really been monitoring the chat too much, but thank you so much for jumping on, Jaden, my boy. And I look forward to being of assistance and seeing what you guys make of the system. I mean, I built the system for you. I built the system so that you guys can become very consistent trading the markets. And I know that with just a little bit of practice, a little bit of working knowledge and understanding of the strategy, you are going to love it. So thank you guys so much, and I shall see you on the inside. Cheers.